Good morning and welcome to this week's IGTV. Today I'm talking about when you find something down and dirty, a little sketchy on your teenager's phone. I mean, I'm sure your first reaction, right, is to cut that off, take the phone, ground them, maybe, slide pizza under the door for the next year. But this is not going to happen with your child under your roof. And it's scary, and it triggers all kinds of stuff in us when we find questionable stuff on our teenager's phone for whatever reason. If this is something that you have gone through or you are going through, maybe you have a friend who's going through this, then this is the one for you. Today, I'm going to give you specific tips in a real life example that I talked a parent through to help you navigate this extremely difficult situation, and also how to maintain and build your relationship with your teen while teaching and mentoring safety and healthy phone habits with your teen, okay? All right, my name is Allie Payne. I am a certified life coach, certified relationship systems coach. I am one of only 70 people in Canada to hold both designations. I have been empowering parents of tweens, teens, and young adults for the last 16 years to help them end the painful disconnection, baffling blowups, and stressful silences to create mutual respect, trust in healthy, lasting relationships. If this is something that you're interested in, then you're going to want to listen to what I'm talking about today. If you're watching on YouTube, I'd love a subscribe. If you're here on Instagram, I'd love a follow. Okay, so this was a phone conversation that I had with someone who will, of course, remain anonymous. I was pulling into the grocery store on one Sunday afternoon after church, and my phone started going, "Oh my gosh, I need your help. Please, can I talk to you? I don't know what to do. I'm gonna freak out," which is very common. It's all the things. I get it. So I talked to this gorgeous parent. I'm sitting in the parking lot of the grocery store, and I got the door open because it's so hot, and I don't leave my car running. And this was the conversation that we had. So just to give you a little context, the teenager, the child, was 13. The parent, this wasn't new with the teenager was 13. The parent had given the child the phone, okay? I think they'd had it for about a year. And this is a family with very open communication, a lot of teaching them, with a lot of interest in staying connected, knowing that these teen years are going to be a bit bumpy. So by all accounts, amazing. And still, so I think this parent and this teen, they would go over his phone weekly. That is what I believe was the agreement, is every week they would sit down and go over, texts and photos and just talk about, what are you and your friends talking about? What do you send to each other? What's funny? What's not funny? What's appropriate? What's not appropriate? How do you feel about those things? All those things, right? All the yes things, okay? That I recommend in all of my programs to every parent that I work with. Now, on a particular day, now this 13-year-old had a bit of a crush, and this had been going on for probably 6 months, okay? This 13-year-old boy had a crush on this gorgeous, lovely young lady who I think was 12, just turning 13. They were 6 months apart. And this parent had been really coaching her son through this kind of crush of, what is appropriate and what's not. We're not going a whole hog and to try and grab onto the reins of those raging hormones. Know what I mean? So there was a crush already going on. It was very open and honest with this parent. They knew about it. They were trying to support them, to if they wanted to spend time together, but it was not done in private and all of the things. So one day, so that's the context, okay? I hope that kind of covers that for you guys. This parent picks up her son's phone and is sort of like, there's something else going on here. Like, I think there's a line that's been crossed. And again, the agreement was, so it was transparency. First of all, it was transparent. She was transparent saying, I have the right to check your phone because they'd been doing it every week together anyway. You know, if I suspect anything, I'm not a fan ever of going through your teenager's phone because it is a version of their personal diary and history of every conversation they've ever had. However, having transparency with your teenagers, which I did with mine as well, that should I feel that something is off or that you are in danger, I reserve the right to go through your phone. Because that is my job as a parent, is to keep you safe. So not like read through it because I'm fascinated by your life and I don't have enough going on in mine. So I just need not that. Okay. So this parent picked up the phone and was just, something felt off to her. So she was going through some of the texts and photos. And sure enough, this young lady had sent a photo to her son that wasn't horrific, you know, but unfortunately, a lot of young girls and young boys, young people, let's just say young people, okay, are being consistently coerced, pressured, and even blackmailed to send the sexy photo, the naked photo, top naked, bottom naked, all of the things. They're being pressured and coerced into doing this on a regular basis. Now, her son was not doing that. And this young girl, but I'm giving you that context because young girls are growing up in an era where more and more and more with social media that is being taught to them that they need to be pleasing, visually pleasing, or visually attractive, at least sexually attractive to their partner in order to be deemed as lovable. Lovable equals sexually attractive. Do you get what I'm saying? So this young girl, bless her, she sent the 13-year-old son a photo that wasn't like super risque. It was kind of just on the line, okay? And this parent this is all the context I got to give you. So she's calling me saying, what do I do? Like, do I take the phone? Do I ground him? We can't have this. This is not okay. And, you know, she was really coaching him through this relationship about being respectful and honoring of autonomy and, you know, never pressuring you. Like, she's been putting in this time. So seeing this photo on his phone, I think was even more disturbing and really frightening for her. So what she wanted to do was, the minute he got home from school, she was going to sit him down and she was going to have a talk with him about this. That's code for lecture. And take the phone, and he was probably going to be grounded for a bit. That would seem like what most of us would do, right? Here's the problem. Doing that actually, scientifically, does not support a teenager's executive function development to understand their own thought process that got them to right here, right now, to change and shift that thought process to make a different decision next time. So by freaking out, taking the phone, grounding, and doing all the things to deal with your discomfort, your shock, your heartbreak, all of which are real, okay? Those are all real. When you project those on your teenager via immediate, instantaneous punishment, pain, removal of privilege, yelling, all of the things, you have not taught your teenager anything except that you are scary. They cannot do vulnerable things and make mistakes. Mistakes are not okay. By the way, that's also the only way their executive function develops, is by making mistakes and then learning and then doing it again. Not by a punishment consequence. It's just this, you can go look it up. It's a science of how their brain learns, okay? That you are not safe to bring really like awkward, maybe uncomfortable things to. When you behave that way, when you react that way, these are the messages that you're sending to your teen. And last, and probably the worst, is that they have disappointed you and they are slightly less valuable and worthy of love in your eyes. That is what that reaction does. Now, did this gorgeous mama want to send any of those messages? No, of course she didn't want to send any of those messages. But she was having her own very valid reaction. All good. The key is you are responsible for your emotions, my friend. Not your teenager, not your child, not your friend, not your partner, not your spouse. You are responsible for your own feelings. So by calling me, maybe you call a friend, whatever, by calling me and I'm sitting there in the grocery store parking lot and we're having this conversation, I was helping her to process her shock and anger and disappointment and frustration and fear. Let's be honest, shall we? Fear, uncontrollable fear, translates to force on the outside. So I helped her be with that fear. I helped her be with that fear and to process it so that we could have the conversation to support her to have a different conversation with her son. So your responsibility is to manage your own reactivity, which is normal when your brain becomes unregulated. Go do that. Go yell it out. Go scream it out. Go cry it out. You deserve the space to have a human experience. It's just not helpful when you take all of that and then you turn it on your teenager, okay? So that's the first step. So number 2, we had this great conversation and I said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take the phone to your son when he gets home. Now again, I'm saying this because she had the agreement that she was going to go through his phone. So it would not be shocking to him at 13 or a major invasion of privacy that she had done this, because they had that very explicit agreement. So rather than condemn or criticize, which is often what comes out of our fear, is condemnation and criticism, okay? I told her, I said, you need to sit with him and you need to do a different C word. You need to get curious. First and foremost, get curious. Get curious first, because you don't know. Maybe she and he had a conversation and your son said, not in text, but your son said in these words, hey, will you send me a picture? You don't know. You don't know if you're, do you? You don't know if she had said to him, would you want a picture of me? Just because it's not written in text doesn't mean you know the entire relationship. Don't you go assuming. Don't do that. So she sat down with him and she said, this is hard for me. I found this on your phone, this picture from this gorgeous young girl. And again, it's a very early budding relationship. You know, hormones are in the picture. And she said, instead of talking, and this is what she texted me after, is instead of going in with the talk and the lecture, she just asked questions, and in her words, she shut up. Use these, and I mean your ears, not headphones. Use your ears, not this. She went in and she said, I noticed this photo of young girl on your phone. Help me to understand. Like, tell me about this. Well, what her son, gorgeous son, said was, yeah, Mom, I'm not that comfortable with it. it feels a little kind of weird to me, and because they have a lot of conversations, I guess, about respecting bodily autonomy, what is respectful to each other, that we are not objects of pleasure for each other. It is about respecting your brain, your body. They've had all these conversations. And he said, yeah, that picture, again, it was not wildly explicit. It was not, okay? It was like barely, it was edging onto the line, okay? And so he said, yeah, Mom, I wasn't really comfortable with that photo, but honestly, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do about it. And this is so common that teenagers, young kids, they're more afraid of saying anything to hurt someone's feelings than they are. It's not that they don't know necessarily what is right and what is wrong. It's not that they don't know what's right and what's wrong. It's that they are so afraid of hurting someone's feelings that they do nothing, which you and I as parents assume is being complicit. We assume is they're making it, they wanted it. They asked for it. They're making it okay. No, they might know it doesn't feel right, but this 13-year-old boy was so worried about hurting his 12-year-old, this young lady's feelings, that he didn't know what to say to her. Now, because she got curious and then she zipped it, that's how she found out. Her gorgeous son did know that this photo was edging into not great territory. He did know. And he also is so deeply loving and caring, he didn't want to hurt her feelings. This opened up another conversation, all of which I had coached her through in the grocery store parking lot. So listen, you probably missed the comment here. Says, I didn't know it's right to go through my teenager's phone. You missed the comment that I've said earlier. That is a massive invasion of privacy if you do not already have an explicit agreement. This mama had that explicit agreement with her son. He was new to having a phone and they were going through it together weekly. So if you don't already have the agreement, it's a much steeper uphill on the conversation because you're going to have to deal with the fact they're freaking out because you just invaded their privacy without explicit permission. I'm not saying it's not your job to keep them safe. I'm just saying you're treading into dangerous territory. So she had that agreement. So they sat down. The son is like, yeah, like, okay, I know this is wrong, but I don't know what to do. So what I had coached her through was to always ask more questions, talk less. Ask curious questions, talk less. Why? Not because she's not the parent, not because she's trying to be his bestie, and not because she is condoning this behavior. Hails to the no! Because I explained to her the science of how the executive function is developed in young kids. They must go through a sifting process. Like, oh, well, I was thinking this. Oh, well, and then it did. They have to go through this executive function analysis, this thought process analysis, which only happens when they feel safe and you are curious without being critical or condemning. Okay, so she said to him, okay, what, how do you feel about it? And he's like, it feels disrespectful to me that I would have this picture, but I don't know what to say. And she's like, okay, so what kind of things do feel? So first she managed what he was thinking. What does feel appropriate? What doesn't feel appropriate, and why? And it was a lovely open conversation where he was really clearly upholding the values that she was hoping he would, because you cannot parent your values into your child. Just saying. So she really got that he was demonstrating very high or good values, I guess. I hate rating values, but rating good values, that he didn't want to be disrespectful to her and have pictures like that on his phone. So she was also talking to him about the consequence of having that kind of thing on your phone, and that once something is in digital Once it's a digital asset, it is basically free game and open to public because anybody can screenshot it, anybody can share it with anybody, and that's what's so dangerous about sending photos like that. That was a great part of the learning for him and conversation. So they made a decision together to delete that photo, and then she helped him to feel more comfortable to address this gorgeous 12-year-old young lady, to say, you know what, I really love our friendship. I really love our relationship. It's okay to send me photos. However, photos that are of you that you wouldn't want, on a billboard on a highway or on the front page of a public newspaper, that are just, I'm not comfortable with it. I don't feel like that is a version of respect for me if I'm even accepting those photos. And you're an amazing person for who you are. Even if the world tells you you need to be sexually pleasing and visually desirable to me, you don't know. Like, I'm 13, And so this mama had this conversation with her son, and her son was able to go have this conversation with this young lady, and the photo was deleted, so all was well. But more importantly, here's the thing. She messaged me after we had this long phone conversation, and she said, you know what? She said that conversation could have gone, in my old perspective, really well, because I would have dropped the gauntlet. I would have delivered the punishment. I would have taken the phone. I would have done all the things. And he would have learned that I am not a safe and trustworthy person, that he can't get curious about learning, like, what is healthy, what's not, is this respectful, he can't ask me anything. And the last of all, I'm not going to listen. I've got my opinion, my way of thinking. I'm right, you're wrong. Whoops, just about said something terrible. Too bad. She said, that's the last message I want to send to my son. So she messaged me after and said, thank you so much for talking me down off the ledge, for letting me be with my fear, my outrage, my heartbreak, my shock. Thank you for letting me be with that so that I could regulate my brain, and then I could go to my son and be safe and be curious to help his executive function develop the learning of what had happened. And then we could move to resolution or restitution to make it right, which was deleting the photo, and then him having a discussion with her, not just about what was respectful and what was not, and that he wanted to respect her as a person, not just like a body, and that she didn't need to be visually or sexually pleasing to him. Like that, just doesn't need to. So she said, that went so much better than I ever could have imagined. I got to know more of my son's thinking and his values and what he believes in and is right and not right, and his heart, because I asked a few curious questions and then I shut up and I listened. And she said, he chose to delete that photo. I didn't have to make him. He wanted to. And I got to support him in his amazing decision and affirm his decision and his values, and build a bridge that now, if this were to happen again, he's a lot more likely to come and talk to me about it because of how you helped me to respond instead of react. I hope this has been helpful for you. Again, if you're on Instagram, I'd love the follow. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Next week, I am offering a free masterclass, Wednesday, September 20th. It's a free masterclass called The Parenting Revolution Theory, and I will be talking to you about this kind of stuff, and vaping, and weed, and school, and waking them up in the morning, and all of the things. So once I get this posted, type here on Instagram and over on YouTube, just type masterclass below, and I'll get you the link so you can register. A replay is available, but only if you register, okay? So thank you so much for being here. I'm glad this was helpful for you. Again, my name is Allie Payne, and I am grateful to be part of your parenting journey. Bye.